How y'all doing today? Today we're gonna make orange Madeline. Orange Madeline. It's pretty. This recipe is kind of a little, I would say, kind of a long process, but if you're very interested in how orange Madeline make, it's a very unique recipe. It's been a while I don't make this, but if you're in a hurry, this recipe is not gonna be a hurry because this the process of this recipe. You mix the butter, sugar, not the butter, sorry, the butter and the melt the butter and in a like you can do it in a microwave or so. Um, then you're gonna mix the sugar and the egg together. And after you add the sugar and egg together, you add all the dry ingredients, cocoa powder and baking powder and salt in the bowl. Mix it with the flour and put it on a paddle and a mixer and use a paddle and just mix it all the way. It's after you mix this recipe, you mix the whole dough, the mixture. You have to basically sit it out outside, like basically like a room temperature. Or you can just put it in a like a refrigerator. I would say just leave it outside. You get a better volume um at the room temperature for 3 hours. After you leave it at 3 hours, and as you can see, I melt my butter and I'm going to add it to the mixer, and that's the final mixing stage. Always remember to scrape your bowl and just mix thing everything incorporate. As you can see, it look a lot shinier once you add in the butter. And you can mix it and just be speed 2, but I was in the process of trying to get this done real quick. And any kind of mold you can use, but I use this mold for the orange chocolate Madeline. And spray your molds. Use a can spray or whatever you have to grease your mold. And after you can scoop it with a I would say like a 2 inch scoop, 2 ounce scoop or so, or whatever scoop you can find. To You can't put too much, as this recipe is kind of a little very smooth, like a sponge looking, but not 100% sponge. So once you scoop it, you have to leave it outside for 3 hours. And once that 3 hours reach, then you can basically go ahead and bake this at 350 degree, or it all depends on the kind of oven you have. I would say probably you can bake it at 325. Once you bake it at 325, I would say give this like 12, starting 12 minutes. And after you bake it for 12 minutes, remove it from the oven and let it sit at room temperature before unmold. And then this is the final stage of my chocolate orange Madeline, and it's a very easy, simple recipe. It's not hard at all, and that's the final stage. Some people they put chocolate chunks in there, but I just leave mine because I want to taste the orange flavor in there. Because I use the just a regular orange. You can just zest the orange, um, and inside of the mixture, and it's gonna have that's the top of the orange Madeline. That's the bottom. So you're gonna turn it to, up, like up just the same way as that. The next part is basically in the bottom, and that's the final stage of the orange Madeline. And what I do, I just normally put them in a refrigerator and let they sit up for basically like overnight before I use them, because if you're in a haste to do this, you can go ahead and just and put it to cool down before you you know do whatever, if you're gonna decorate them with whatever you prefer. So I line them up, make them cool down, and as you can see, I unmold them and you let them sit out for a little bit, and so I can finish my process of um, so they can basically cool down and they will have basically a nice taste, and the dough is a lot more set. And that's the final of the Madeline of the baking stage. It's a very good recipe. I really like this recipe because the texture is very smooth. It's not a rustic, dense um, um, orange Madeline. I would say it's kind of like it's gonna be on the fudgy side, but not 100% fudgy. It's just nice and you know, kind of gooey a little bit. So we're gonna move up to the stage of to get these orange Madeleine all set and done. So I get my parchment paper and I get my chocolate, melt my chocolate, and I dip my orange chocolate orange Madeleine because it represented the orange and represented the chocolate. So I use a temper my chocolate and dip my chocolate, my orange Madeleine, and I use a orange. It's like a, I would say like a candy orange, but if you don't have that, you can just use you can just zest. You can use the chocolate, dip it, and just zest it. And if you want to get them set up very nicely like this, there's a trick into this way. You can put them in the refrigerator, like in the freezer, to let them set nice and cold instead of you um, temper your chocolate. Well, you can temper the chocolate because once you it cool down, it will get kind of little you see like little streaks on it, on there, and the orange Madeline, because the chocolate is not tempered. But to avoid that streak, you can temper it. But if you don't want to go to that route, you can just basically dip the orange Madeline inside of the chocolate, but don't let that chocolate a little not too hot. Then you dip them, and then you just place the candy um, orange on them, so because it give it a really good flavor. You're not gonna taste the chocolate a lot once you add the orange in it, and you give it a very good taste, nice texture. So, and that's how I prepare the orange melon. And as you can see, it's a very good um, recipe, and you can stay outside for basically, I would say like room temperature. If you're serving this, it's not gonna be like all messy, because it's a very good recipe to have, like if you have like a picnic or so, or any form of get together. It's a good recipe that you don't have to have like a sorry, temperature wise, that you have to put these on to like be cold. This recipe can serve like in the summer. You can make this during the summer, and it work good for the summer, and also in the winter, so spring, whatever time. There's some recipe that um, like stuff that you make and you can't really sit out in the summer, especially if you're in a hot environment, or state, or whatever you may. Um, but if it's an indoor, it will hold up a lot, because the chocolate hold up a lot better indoor more than outdoor. Outdoor is gonna melt really rapidly. So it's gonna be like it's like you dip orange Madeline basically with the chocolate inside of a chocolate. It's just gonna get kind of a little messy. But I would say for for most of the recipe that I make, I would say this recipe is a really good recipe because it holds its shape and volume. And I think, when you're making this, always a trick between everything. Always use fresh eggs because a lot of people like will like to use like a egg from the store bought in a box, but I prefer to use a fresh egg because a fresh egg is gonna give you a lot more volume. And if you want to get all the ridges on the orange melon, it's best if you use um, put it in the freezer to set. So when you unmold it, it's basically have all the ridges when you dip the chocolate on it. And there you have it, chocolate orange melon. Very easy and simple recipe. As you can see, I have a little small function that I just lay them all out in this little like a leaf plate, like, because in this time, it's just, there's still COVID around, so we have to not like put it in one platter, so we have to like spread it out, so everyone just grab their own little thing and just enjoy yourself. I want to wrap up this video. I want to say thank you for watching this video. If you think this video was helpful, please like and share and subscribe. All right, peace.